Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You don't have to hesitate. Come on in. Come on in and sit down. I saw you peeking through the window. I bet you're wondering just what's going on. So quit your sneaking around. This is where you belong. Open up the doors now. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You don't have to hesitate. Come on in. Come on in and sit down. Now notice all the love around you. And did you hear all the voices raised in song? I hope you catch yourself dancing, singing along. So let your body move now. Welcome to the temple. Welcome to the sanctuary. You don't have to worry, just come on in. Welcome to the presence. Welcome to the family. You don't have to hesitate. Come on in. Come on in and sit down to the beat now. Welcome, welcome, come on in. 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 Welcome to the temple. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to the sanctuary. Yeah, yeah. Come on in and sit down. Sit yourself down. Yeah. I was alone and then y'all showed up. When the world puts you down and you're feeling lonely, when you can't find your truth or find your center, there are many here who gather together. Oh, unconditionally, we love each other, and the scars that you see just make us stronger. We breathe it in together, hold you up with grace. You know that love lives here in you and me. Love lives here. My soul breaks free. I'm so excited to be united with you. Where love lives. Where love lives. When life gets you down, you can see the future. When it all seems too much for you to handle, there are many here who gather together. Oh, unconditionally, we pray together, and the hurt that you feel will be set free. We breathe it in together, we'll hold you up with grace. You know that love lives here in you and me. Love lives here. My soul breaks free. I'm so excited to be united with you. Where love lives. Where love lives. Love lives here. Thank you.
Miahuen. We here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living acknowledge that we gather on the ancestral lands of the Cahuilla, the Gabrielino Tongva, Kizh, and Luiseno peoples. We commit to live in right relations, to love our neighbors, and to seek justice and loving kindness, and to walk humbly upon this land. We recognize our oneness so that we may decolonize our minds and set each other free from the pain of racism and violence, to live better as God intended, in harmony with nature and with one another. Good morning, everybody. I am Reverend Jeffrey Ryan, and it is my distinct honor to serve this beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, where love lives here. Great. We can hear all of you. Fantastic. So good morning, everybody here in the sanctuary. And let's say good morning to our folks at home. Good morning, Reverend Victoria. Good morning, Mom and Dad. Good morning, Mike and Jeannie. Good morning, Allison. Good morning, Bill and Constance. Aloha kakahiaka to Casey and Wayne, though Casey's in Detroit and Wayne's at home in Hilo. Good morning to Maria Sneed, and good morning to Denise and Earl. And they are up apple picking this morning at Oak Glen. So, hey, bring me back some apple cider, would you, Earl? All right, so sounds good. Good to see everybody this morning. So it is great to have all of you with us. So, yeah, and Michelle is at home, and Jared is running our StreamYard this morning. Michelle's got a nice day off, so yay for her. That's a great opportunity for her to be at home with the family and the kids, and I know that she is watching at home as well. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's get up and it's a little cool here. It was 90 degrees yesterday, but it's a little cool in the sanctuary this morning. So if you're feeling a little chill, it means it's time to stand up and get your groove on. So let's dance and sing. Good morning, Constance. It's time to dance and sing. Here we go.
Together as family, we have come here as we are. Oh, we have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Oh, Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout to praise. Spirit's in this place. We sing in celebration. We sing with words of prayer. We affirm our life as sacred. We declare the peace is here. Oh, Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout to praise. Spirit's in this place. Yeah, 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 yeah. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout to praise. Spirit's in this place.
So good morning to Maria Sneed, and good morning to John and Lupe. Great to see you. Oh, Earl says apple cider's on the way. Hey, ask and ye shall receive. All right. All right, and Jabel's just getting her pedal set here again because it likes to slide on her. And all right, let's just take a nice deep breath and turn within. Allow a spirit to pour itself.
my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Oh, wonderful Spirit.
Good morning. My name is Amber Holland, one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Practitioner Francis Drake and I will be available after service for a brief moment of prayer in the prayer room behind the lobby. Please do not leave here with anything on your heart. We would love to pray with you and absolutely know that prayer works. Please join me in consciousness, resting into that joy-filled space, that space of perfection, of peace, of love, of all of the goodness and greatness of God, knowing that there is just one illuminating light in the darkness, one truth, one wisdom, one inner knowing that can never fade. It is the name that I call the divine, the truth, the love, the embrace, the source of all, the knower of all, the doer of all. It is everything good and perfect and so much more. It is the power of a beautiful whale moving through the ocean, the joy, laughter, and playfulness of dolphins, of children. It is everything that is here, present now, and that will always be. And it is all that I am. It is every piece and part of my being. My very existence is made of everything that God is. And as I know this for myself, I know this so truly for each and every person here and not here. Each and every person within the sound of my voice, I know that we are all expressions of all that God is, all the goodness and greatness of spirit. And I bless this morning, knowing that this is all that could be, that each and every word we hear, each and every word touches the deepest parts of us, heals every dark place within that needs to be healed, that we leave here transformed and renewed, knowing that we are a heavenly family, a community. And together we rise, together we can move mountains, together we can shape this planet, this existence. We can show the truth that God is love, that we are all connected, all one. And I lovingly, graciously, humbly let this be so. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you.
We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers. sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, born together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Join together, oh, join together, oh, join together, join together, together in love, join together, together in love, join together, together in love, join together, together in love.
Whew. Awesome. Thank you. Good morning. Great to see all of you. Wow. Hey, everybody online. How are you? All right. So want to say hi to Patty Clark. Sorry, Patty, that you fell yesterday. And so we know that you are on the mend right here and right now. We are affirming your wholeness and your perfection, the perfect circulation in your body and the perfect movement right here and right now. That your body temple is the body temple of the divine. So there is nothing impeding it. There is nothing in the way. And so we know perfect circulation, perfect movement, and perfect life and vitality in your body right here and right now. And so it is, Patty Clark. So how about we start off with our focus statement, shall we? Okay, here we go. All right, so let's do it with, what's that? V? Okay, we're going to do it with the V's. Vim, vigor, vitality, voluptuousness. Voluptuousness, right? Vitality, vibrancy, value. Yes, okay. All right, so here we go. We embolden people to live their highest potential through the transformative power of love. Yes, we do. So, this year here at Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, we are working with the theme of Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And this month's theme, as we continue to explore and expand this theme of Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision, this month's theme is Going Further Together. And today, that is exactly what we are talking about. We are talking about we being greater than me, meaning that we as the collective are greater than me as the individual, or as our individualizations, that we are broader and more expansive than just our individual selves. And so that is where we are headed today. We greater than me, going further together. I'm going to take these off and see if I can see you a little bit better. It's kind of back and forth this morning. So this phrase, going further together, comes from a West African axiom, a West African tradition saying that if you want to go faster, go by yourself. Right? If you want to go faster, go by yourself. However, if you want to go further, we go together. And so as a community, what we are called to do, we have been talking about this, coming together in a common unity, as with a common purpose, with a common ideal, with a common value system. And we want to move this out into the world, that we are, as we were talking about last week, emissaries of love, that we have the ability and the opportunity to go out into the larger community, emitting a greater expression and expansion of ourselves, expression of love out into our community. And so I wanted to highlight Maria Sneed this morning, because when we sent out the email on Wednesday or Thursday, I invited everybody to write us back and tell us how you are an emissary out into the greater community. What organizations, because last week when I asked you, do you belong to other organizations other than Center for Spiritual Living, everybody's hand shot up, and it was like, Shawnee and I and a few others got to talking, and it was like, well, wouldn't it be really cool to find out what groups and what organizations and how we're already out there in the world participating? And so I asked you in the email that goes out, what it is that you're doing and how it is that you're serving and what those groups are and how you're participating in those groups. And Maria Sneed, man, she was on that like no time flat. She immediately wrote back and she immediately shared with us that in addition to the great work that she's doing working at Riverside County, but the great work she's doing in the world, she also is in leadership with her union. And she's bringing her full presence. She's bringing the power and the presence of who she is. She's bringing this philosophy, this way of life into her leadership and into the way she participates in leadership with her union. And so this past Saturday, just yesterday, she and a whole group of people were out at Helping Hands in Moreno Valley that was providing services for folks who maybe are experiencing food insecurity or health insecurity or job loss. And so there was this huge event out at one of the high schools in Moreno Valley, Del Lago, I think that's the one it was, that was an opportunity for people to come together and support one another and support the community. So I want to give a great big shout out to Maria Sneed for sharing that with us and for participating in our community in that way. And then she also said that she does phone banking and canvassing neighborhoods, and that when it's time for elections, right? Because part of her union work is to help educate and get the vote out. So that's really a wonderful thing too, registering voters and getting the vote out. So what a wonderful thing. So thank you, Maria, for all of the beautiful work that you are doing in our community. I know you're out there in TV land right now. Thank you for all the beautiful work that you're doing out in our community, being an emissary of love, and keep up the great work. And thank you for sharing what you're doing so that we may participate with you when things come up again, like Helping Hands. So that's an opportunity for us to participate and share that with this larger community too. So thank you for all the work you're doing. We really appreciate it. So I want to hear from all of you too. So make sure you send us an email this week. Send it to office@riversidecsl.org. And in the subject line, type in emissary and let us know what you're involved in. I know what some of you are involved in, but let's really hear about it. Let's see. Because I was thinking, it's like, it's kind of like playing the game 6 Degrees of Separation of Kevin Bacon, right? Like, how is this connected to this connected to this connected, and all within 6 degrees? Except really, what a backwards way of saying that in terms of the game, right? It's not really about separation. It's about connection, right? So all of these are direct connections. So let's hear how we're connected and how we are expanding out into the world. Because when we go together, we go further, yes? But when we go together, so I was sharing with you last week too, that going together also means doing our work individually, right? So it's how Beth shows up at her workplace or in her organizations. It's how Jim shows up within his organizations and his sphere of influence, right? It's how Helen shows up in hers, or tomorrow shows up in hers, or Jabel shows up in hers, right? That it is individually we are doing these things, but we come together collectively here as a community, and then individually we go back out into our spheres of influence and we make an impact, and we have an impact. And so therefore we are growing exponentially, we are sharing our love exponentially, and we're able to go further together than if it was just one person. If it was just Chester out there on the street corner, can you imagine it? Chester out there on the street corner holding a sign. Oneness, right? Rather than Jesus saves, just oneness, right? And he's the only one out there saying, you too are God, right? You too are the divine. And he's the only one out there on the street corner. Well, it might make some difference. Or not. But if Chester's in his work environment and in his social circles being Chester, being his highest potential, being his real, honest, authentic self, and saying, wow, I'm listening to that, and wow, have you thought about this? That, it really is about love, that really we're all in this together, that there really isn't this separation, there really isn't this thing that we want to buy into. If Sally weren't out there on Facebook posting the daily word from Unity and also the guides from the Science of Mind magazine, just think of how many people she's influencing in that way. So thank you, Sally, for that service as well. It doesn't have to be huge, right? It doesn't have to be big. It's something so simple. That's really simple. It takes you, maybe 2 minutes, if tops or whatever. Yeah. Exactly. Take a picture, type it, and yes, you do. Yep. So Sally just said, for those of you at home who might not have heard, Sally just said that she gets a lot of her friends online thanking her for posting that, because wow, what a bright spot in our day to see something beautiful come through our news feed for a change, right? Right? Helping out that algorithm of what it is that we're going to see. Vista del Lago was the high school. Yes. Thank you, Maria. So it's something so simple. It's something so simple that any of us can do it. In fact, we do it all the time. It's just that we're not always aware that we're doing it. So the question becomes, how do I want to show up? How am I showing up? What is my thought process? Am I in it for me? Am I focused on my life of me? Or am I focused on the we? Or am I kind of figuring out a both and rather than an either or? What's happened is that we've kind of gone to these extremes, these polar opposites of me, right? Rugged individualism. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm a self-made person. This is my success, and I did it this way, so you too should do it this way. Right? And so there's that really far extreme there. And then there's another far extreme like, no, it's all us. And so as a collective, we have to only be thinking about the collective, and we can't think about individualism. And so we expect conformity. We expect conformity. We expect uniformity. We don't expect any nail to stick up, because if a nail sticks up, it needs to get hammered down, because you can't have an individualized opinion or idea. And so those are like two extremes there, right? Both of them unhealthy. But the opportunity here is to come together, and it's to come together. Let me go there first. The opportunity is for us to come together, to meet somewhere in the middle. maybe a little bit more to the we than the me, but somewhere more toward the middle, so that it is a healthy we, because a healthy we is incumbent upon a healthy me. Let me say that again. A healthy we is incumbent upon a healthy me. Right? So interdependence, meaning that we are interrelated, that we have this interdependence, that we are dependent upon one another, that, again, from the Zulu tradition of Ubuntu, right? I am because we are. That there is this interconnectedness that we cannot deny. That we are all part of a larger whole, that we are all part of a larger collective, and that what each one of us does has some impact or some effect on everyone else, like the butterfly effect. Butterfly flapping its wings causes a hurricane somewhere else, right? That there is this, or the 100th monkey, right? That all of a sudden there's this spreading of idea, there's the shared commonality in this shared life, this shared existence, because what we understand is that there is only one. But what we also know is that unity does not mean uniformity. That community does not mean that individuals lose themselves altogether. Because what makes a community so beautiful and so necessary is that we can go further. As I was mentioning with Chester, we can go further when we come together and we move forward together. Because Chester's gifts and talents are different from Ray's gifts and talents, are different from Leslie's gifts and talents, are different from Jeannie's gifts and talents. And when we bring them all together, and we use them for the common good, we can go further together. Because I don't know anything about land surveying. Right? And I don't know that much or anything about RVing. Right? Or writing children's books. But when we come together, think of the possibilities that when we come together and we are moving forward together, what then becomes possible? When each of us contributes our own gifts, when each of us contributes our talents, when we come together as healthy, independent, individualized expressions of love, that when we come together so that we are a healthy community of love that is then able to go out and do more, to do greater. Because we are greater than the sum of our individual parts. Yes? So our philosophy, what we teach, when we are moving through the stages of consciousness that I've talked about, or the kingdoms of consciousness, the stages of spiritual development. I've talked about it many times. You've heard it talked about many times. Our guest speaker last month also talked about the 4 stages of spiritual consciousness, or stages of spiritual development, or kingdoms of consciousness, whatever you want to call it, about the to me consciousness being the lowest level of consciousness, that or conscious development, that everything is happening to me, that I'm looking externally for my good, that I'm looking externally for somebody to supply my needs, to make me happy, and that I really don't have any responsibility, and everything is happening to me, and so then I feel like I'm not in control. And so there's a lot of blame that goes out, there's a lot of shame that goes out, there's a lot of projection that happens in this stage, right? Well, when we look at Stephen Covey, author of 7 Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, he calls this the dependent stage, that we are dependent on somebody or something external to us to give us what we want, what we desire, and that when it doesn't happen, then it's about blame and anger and shame, etc., right? That we are coming from this dependent place, like, I want this, but I'm not going to do anything to make it happen, and you need to make that happen for me. You need to give it to me, and if you don't give it to me, you're withholding from me, so then I can now be mad at you. And then I feel whatever it is that I feel. Perhaps I feel a little bit better about myself because it's not in my hands, it's your hands, and you're not doing it, so now I can just be mad. And that's something that maybe satisfies for a bit, right? But what is it that we teach here? What is it that we know moves us to the next stage of consciousness? The by me stage. It's about taking personal responsibility and personal accountability for our lives and how we show up to life and what we are willing to say yes to and how we are willing to participate in changing our life, changing our situation. And where does that start? It starts with changing our thinking, change our life. Yes? So if we are changing our thinking, we change our life. We are changing our thinking, we are changing our beliefs, we are changing our attitudes, we are changing our behaviors. We're taking responsibility for ourselves, we're taking responsibility for our life. And so then that moves us, that empowers us to move into that next stage of consciousness, which is the by me stage, that I'm creating my reality, I'm creating my world, right? And so Covey calls this the independent stage. That, yes, all right, you know what? I've done the same thing. Now I'm independent. I'm not dependent on you doing something for me to be happy. I'm not dependent on something outside of me for me to have a great life. I'm not dependent on something else. But I am independent. There's a self-sufficiency here, right? The danger of this self-sufficiency, if we take it too far, is that then it starts to produce an idea of scarcity, of lack, of if I'm going to get, I have to get mine before you get yours. That I have to get all the goodies or hoard all the toilet paper last year, right? Because there's not enough toilet paper to go around, so I've got to hoard all of it. Right? So it gets into that scarcity mentality, right? And what we are called, what we are invited to do is move from that independent stage to an interdependent, in Stephen Covey's model, to an interdependent stage. So yes, here at Centers for Spiritual Living, we do teach that we have to take personal responsibility for our lives, that it is incumbent upon us to participate in life, to take responsibility, to have accountability for how we show up in the world, for the way we use our words, for the way we direct energy, for the way we direct our thinking, for how we want to create something, that we have to be engaged and we have to participate in that. We do teach that, yes? And then the other thing that we teach, my friends, is we teach oneness, right? That's another big component of what we teach, that we teach oneness. Namaste. The divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you. We teach oneness, that all of life, that all of creation is a divine manifestation, impartation, and expression of one life, that each of us is an individualized expression, but there is only one. We teach unity, we teach oneness. Well, then if there's unity and oneness, what is that? That's interdependence. That's we. That is a collective consciousness. That is a collective whole. That is a community that is coming together as one. So when we are healthy in our independence, we are then able to know that, yes, we are self-sufficient, that we create, but now, because we also recognize our oneness with all of life, and we are mature enough that we move into interdependence, that we recognize that we can use our independence for the greater good of the whole. Because we recognize that if we only use it for ourselves, we are not participating in a world that works for everyone in all of creation. We're closed off. The only way we're ever going to get to a world that works for everyone in all of creation is if we together recognize our skills and our talents, our individualized skills and talents, and begin working together, using our individuality, using our independence to serve a greater good, a higher good, a common good, a unity, a collectiveness, to serve the we. So it was very interesting this week looking at Stephen Covey's work and looking at the four kingdoms of consciousness, or the four stages of spiritual development, and seeing how those overlap. Because when we get to the through me, in order to move to through me, which is the third stage of spiritual development, that life is happening through me, that I'm a co-creator. Well, who am I a co-creator with? I'm a co-creator with Spirit. And how does Spirit show up here? All of y'all. That's plural, by the way. That's Southern plural, right? That's the plural of y'all, all y'all, right? So that, my Texas is showing. So that we are working together, we are co-creating together. So this side of the equation is the oneness side, the through and the as, is where we experience unity, where we experience oneness, where we experience that wholeness. And so we have to surrender a little bit of our independence, perhaps. Not really surrendering our independence, but we have to surrender the way we view independence for the greater good, so that we can move into a higher state. Because if I'm not willing to share my toys, then how can we all play together? If we're not willing to share our good, we're not willing to share our gifts and our talents and our skills, what good are they really? They just become transactional. That only gets us so far. It might get us it might get us fast, someplace fast, but it won't get us someplace far. Frances this morning, it was beautiful in her meditation. She invited us to think about, what can I do right now? What can I do right now that would have a greater impact on the we? Maybe what behavior can I change? What habit can I change? It might be something like that, or it might be something even smaller. But what action can I take right this minute or this day? Not even let the sun set on it. What difference, what change can I make? This within my sphere of influence, this within my sphere of control. What change in my life can I make to move me into a greater we? To move me into a greater we. So I want you to think about that for a moment. What could I do today to move me into a greater we? Because just like the kingdoms of consciousness, we have a sense of gravity. We gravitate to one or another, or there's a center of gravity amongst the four stages of spiritual development, that it's fluid. Then in the Costco parking lot, I'm right there at number 1, man. Right? Why did you cut me off? Why didn't you take that parking space? Right? My happiness is dependent on how far away I got to park. Right? Whereas, on the meditation cushion, it's like, joy, bliss, yeah. Right? Same thing happens, I think, with Stephen Covey's work of dependent, independent, and interdependent, that there is this fluidity that in some aspects of our lives, I just did that, like I have a lot of hair, that there's some aspects in our lives where, I realize that I am feeling a little dependent here. And there are other aspects of our lives where, wow, kumbaya, it's about the we. And everywhere in between. So I invite you this week to pay attention as you're moving through your day, pay attention to where you're experiencing to, by, and through, or if the other model works for you, where you're experiencing dependent, independent, and interdependent. And see if you can consciously use your mind, use your thoughts, use your activity, use your individualizedness, your individualized fabulousness, your independent individualized fabulousness, to move either from dependent to independent, from independent to interdependent, from by to to, or from to by, and by to through. You up for the challenge? Yeah. Yes? All right. Good. Because you've already figured one out, right? I asked you to a minute ago. You already got one in mind, what you can do right here, right now, today. So go out and do it. Good? Amen. All right, let's have our practitioners stand and surround the sanctuary here this morning. And I invite our core council members to join them as they are present. All right. So let's just come together in consciousness now, shall we? I recognize that there is only one life. This one is the divine. This one is spirit. In the beginning was the one and only the one. And from itself, through itself, speaking its word upon consciousness, speaking its word into consciousness, which is itself, it brought forth all of life and all of creation. It created all that was, is, and ever shall be. It is infinite, eternal, and forever expressing. It is expansive. It is love. It is peace. It is order. It is harmony. It is unity in the diversity, and the diversity in the unity. For there is no other. There is only one. And so all of life is interconnected. There is absolutely no separation whatsoever because there cannot be any separation. There cannot be anything other than the one. Therefore, I know that I am one with the one. The very essence, the very nature of my being is the one, individualized in this form, in this time, at this moment. That I am the I am in full, glorious expression of itself, interconnected with all other individualized expressions of the one life. That I am the incarnation of love, and so is everyone and everything else. Because there is only this one. And because there is only this one, I know that this is not only true for me, I know that this is true of everyone. We are all one. We are all connected. We are all interrelated. We are all interdependent. There is no separation. I am because we are. And so I speak my word for this beloved community here and now, recognizing that there is just the Word. In the beginning, the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. That which God did not create was never, ever created. So I recognize that each one of us here present is an individualized expression of life, is an individualized expression of love. And so we bring this individualized expressions, we bring the fullness of ourselves with a capital S. We bring the fullness and the glory and the love that we are. We bring that together and we assemble it here together. And we recognize that as we do come together in community, assemble here now, like pieces of a puzzle, that something larger, something grander is revealed. That we as a community go further together than any one individualized expression of life could go. That we have a greater impact on the larger community because we come together as one, unified. We place unity in front of independence. And that is how we change and affect change in the world. That is how we move closer to a world that works for everyone in all of creation. It's about collaborating, coming together, having compassion. And so that's what I call forth for us now. Collaboration, compassion, love, and celebration of spirit showing up in, through, and as each of us, and as the collective whole. I am so grateful for this realization. I am so grateful for knowing that I am a co-creator. That I co-create with my brothers, my sisters, my siblings, that I co-create with Spirit. Because ours are the hands and feet, the voices of Spirit on earth. And so we have the opportunity to lean into one another, lean into our collective strength. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the love that's present. I let it be, and so it is.
Darkness closes in, and you can't find your way. The doubts you drag around only seem to say, how can you make it on your own? Remember, you're never alone. Lean into me, I will raise you up. Gather your out your hand when you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. You're longing to be filled with peace that overflows, to hear my quiet voice. Just be still and know, in every sacred silence, I'm only a whisper away. Lean into me, I will raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water. Hold out your hand when you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. With every leap of faith comes the risk you may slip and stumble. Leave what you've known behind, on the edge you'll find I won't let you fall. Lean into me, I will raise you up. Gather your faith and we'll walk on water. Hold out your hand and you can't go on. Let go and lean into me. Let go and lean into me. Let go and lean into me.
Thank you. So one of the ways that we come together as community, that we advance together as community, is we contribute to our community. We contribute to this beloved community. And so the easiest way to make a contribution is via text to give. Simply pull out your phone. It's really that easy. Pull out your phone, type in 951-419-5858. Type in the amount you are choosing to contribute and hit send. That simple. You can also go online to our website, riversidecsl.org, and in the upper right-hand corner, you will see the word contribute, and you can contribute there. And for those of you here in the sanctuary, if you would like to contribute this morning here in the sanctuary, there is that mirrored vessel there at the back of the sanctuary, and you can make your contribution there at the end of service. So I want to thank you for all of your conscious contributions as you continue to contribute to your community, our community. Yes, that's what it is. It's our community. So continuing to contribute to all of your friends and family here at Riverside CSL. So we know that God is our source, yes? God is our power, yes? Let's sing it then.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives you everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives you everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives you everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives you everything I need. God gives you everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
Woo. I know, it's fun, right? Yeah. All right. So I want to say good morning to Tori Samuel and good morning to the Ennisons. Great to see you here this morning. And I'd like to invite James to go ahead and come on forward here. He's got an announcement for you. So come on up, James. So James has said yes to our community in a great big way here, and I'm inviting him to come up and share with you how he is moving love forward, moving us into a greater we of our interconnectedness. So James, take it away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Good morning. My name is James Jones, and since I moved to Riverside 17 years ago, I've come to this community center. And before that, I spent about 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, I was a member of the Redondo Beach on the Reverend Richelieu, if you remember the name. A very large organization. We're small, but we're mighty, right?
Yes.
Okay. I met with Reverend Jeff on Tuesday, I believe it was, because I wanted to talk with him first before the commitment to, and ask some guidance, actually, on just how do we get started again with the coffee and whatever else we're going to do. It's going to be very difficult. Number one, we don't have a stove. Now, when I did go out and look, I guess the stove is going to be removed that's in there. It's not working. I did go out and look at some stoves last week, and he had also given me some numbers on stoves. And it's going to cost about $1,000 to $1,200 to replace the stove. We don't have to put that same kind of stove in there, but we need, at least a 4 or 5 burner stove. That's what it's going to cost to do that, and we have to work out those numbers, how we're going to do it, actually. I guess the first thing I'm going to talk about is we have a manna project coming up in November. I guess it's the 21st of November, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. What we would like to do, it's up to you, of course, if that's what you would like to do as well, is to put together some kind of, I don't want to call it an open house, but we want to invite the people in the area, in the community, and your friends as well, to come out and join us so we can get to know them and get to know the community and what's going on in the community. We need help on that. Is that something that you think you would like to do? Okay, I see a couple nods. We'll get back to you on that, but if we are going to do something, we need to get going on it, okay? So there are a couple of items in terms of the what we want to do. I've been asked several times for about a month now about us getting together after services and just sort of socialize the way we used to do. There are very few of us here today, but we'd like to get more people coming, and we need to talk about it. But I think we need a mission statement, and that mission statement would put us all on the same page. We're all inviting people, and we're saying the same things. When someone asks you, well, what is the Church of Religious Science? What do you do? And Helen mentioned last week that we need more younger people here. All you guys are getting old. Not me. But she did mention that we need more younger people. But what can we do for the younger people? What do we have to offer them? We need to figure that out as well. Okay? So, but that's why we need to sort of kind of come together after services and talk about these things. I guess when we start, hopefully we can get started next Sunday with the coffee. And in the beginning, we'll just have coffee and rolls and some minor pastries, just so that we can get to meet and talk about things. We want to carry this in the future. Then we're going to talk about, I guess, what are our plans for early next year with the picnic again, with the fish fry, things of that nature. So we need to talk. Okay. Now, Reverend Jeff keep calling him Jess. Reverend Jeff had a concern with the cleanup. And what we need to do, if we're going to meet and gather, we need each person to clean up after themselves. Each person will be responsible for themselves and one other. Okay? That way, when we leave, the place is clean. We can't afford to have little creatures coming around looking for foods that have been left over.
No creature.
Exactly. Four-legged or two-legged.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's do that. We also need, because of COVID, we need servers. Even for the coffee, we want one person to sort of fill the cups and pass them out. We will try and we will use packages of creamer, and packages of sugar. And we want one person not to be responsible, but to join us, and we'll discuss how we're going to do this. I'm asking that everyone that would like to participate will meet with me after services in the kitchen so that we can kind of figure that out, okay? I think that's about it.
Well, James, I want to thank you for stepping forward and saying yes, that being in fellowship and community is really important for us to be able to be in fellowship, and for you and to step forward and to take on this responsibility and to take on the leadership of it. I greatly appreciate you saying yes to this so that we can continue to move forward in community in this way. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So if you are interested in helping out with hospitality, you want to see this happen, we are a community, yes?
Yes.
And so as we just talked about, individual responsibility in service to the greater good, yes? All right, so here's a real practical way. Maybe that was one of the things that you were ready to do today, that you were ready to say yes to today. So if that was the thing you were ready to say yes to today, think of something else and do that too. All right. So I'm very excited about this. So next week, you can anticipate coffee if we're willing to work together, come together, and go further together. Matt's like, yay, coffee. All right. Okay. Fantastic. And next week, Reverend Victoria will be here. She will be speaking next week on digging deep. That is the topic for next week. Ed and I will be in Las Vegas next week. So yes, I've been asked to speak at CSL Greater Las Vegas. They've just completed today. They just completed their candidating process. So they are in the process of choosing between two ministers. And so while they're in the midst of choosing those two, or between those two, they've asked me to come and say hi, howdy, because we were part of that community for so many years, and to help bridge them to their next minister. So I'm very excited to be honored have the honor of doing that. And so Ed and I are going to go up and we're going to have dinner and go see Rod Stewart on Friday, and why not? So.
Woohoo!
So it'll be good. All right. Oh, yes. Allison says, yes, I have to remind everybody. Allison, thank you, Allison. She keeps me, in line, whether she's online or here she goes, talk about the Mission Inn run. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Next week, next week, Sunday, it's been moved up this year. So the Mission Inn run is next Sunday. Hear that? Okay. So Mission Inn run is next Sunday. The only way into this area will be starting at 9 a.m. and you'll be able to cross Market at First, which is right up here. So you'll be able to cross Market at first, starting at 9 a.m. Trying to get into the zone any earlier than that will be, well, next to impossible. And Shawnee knows because she's lived in this area forever, and so trying to get out is also impossible. So 9 a.m. crossing Market. So also keep in mind that the 60 is closed. The exits are closed on the 60. So if you come via the 60, you're going to need to get off at Main and then work your way back. And if you're in the Wood Streets or that way, you got to go all the way over to Olivewood and then come up that way. So to get across on, so yeah. So be thinking about your journey or your travels and use this as an opportunity to practice breathing and meditation as you are coming to the center on Sunday next week. All right? And then after coffee and all that'll be done and it'll be easy to get home. But okay? All right. That's it. So let's go ahead and stand and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Let's sing about it, shall we?
Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It's this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. Receive it. And I move it forward because love lives here. Yeah. You can sing it with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It's this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. Receive it. And I move it forward because love lives here. Oh, yeah. Love lives here. Oh, yeah. Love lives here. Here we go. You have to do it with me because I'm all alone. I'm gonna lift up my heart and sing right here in Riverside. Right here in Riverside. Yep. Right here in Riverside. We're gonna lift up our hearts and sing right here in Riverside. Right here in Riverside. Say yeehaw. All right, here we go. Do it again. We're gonna lift up our hearts and sing right here in Riverside. Right here in Riverside. Right here in Riverside. We're gonna lift up our hearts and sing right here in Riverside. Right here in Riverside. Yeah, I am all country. I love it. Have a great Sunday, you guys. Love.